What's up, everybody? Hope y'all having a good time. Spring is here. What you're hearing right now is my MPC Live II with the Mini D plugin and the Native Instruments Utopia, plugin as well. No drums because my Roland TR-8S isn't connected. And right now you're seeing this picture with a Fujifilm X-M5 8-16 f2.8 lens. It's pretty wide, super wide. And I have a recipe, California summer, and I just modified it a little bit. Auto white balance with -2 red and -5 blue. It's supposed to be -6, and it's supposed to be 6700 Kelvin for the white balance. But I just did auto white balance because I'm inside the house right now. Now, enough with the camera nerd talk. I'm gonna go over something extra nerdy. A book, Key Person of Influence by Daniel Priestley. I have some notes. I'm gonna try to not refer to them as much because I read the book, I listened to the audiobook, and great book. Besides that, before I get into that, we saved a turtle. I was fishing and this damn turtle was just walking on the lava rock, and I was like, I've never seen a native turtle walk on the rocks like that. You know, they usually go on the beach and you know, sunbathe or do whatever their turtle minds desire to do. So I was looking at this turtle and I was like, this is not normal. So I ended up calling my wife over and I'm like, look at this turtle, it's crazy. Took a few photos of it. I'll post them in this video. And from there we noticed that it was a freshwater turtle. So I don't know where it came from, but it was getting splashed by the salt water, and that's actually bad. It dehydrates the turtles a lot. So we posted it on a Facebook group, or like Lost Animals on Facebook, and somebody was willing to adopt it down the street, and they actually have 2 other turtles that are freshwater, and boom, saved the turtle's life. Tried to save a bird's life during the storm. If you didn't know, Oahu and a few of the other islands got hit by a storm, flooding, freaking mudslides, all kinds of crazy shit was been going on. And luckily I'm on the west side of the island, so even though it was super raining and there were some floods, it didn't really affect us except for our power. But I have a generator because I came from Portland. And yeah, generators are super underrated, by the way, if you didn't know that. Get a generator. Find one on Marketplace. Make sure it's running well, and check the oil. If there's a lot of metal shards in there, then obviously don't get it. Besides that, let me see what else been going on. Oh, thought came to my head when I was thinking about this video, and it's not about your skills, it's about your positioning and reputation. That stuck out to me because as I was reading the book, he actually talks about that. And yeah, we're gonna go over that too. So let's get into it now. Maybe we'll add drums to this later. Let's do some effects real quick. Okay. Now, positioning and reputation. Oh, before I go into that, Daniel Priestley, Key Person of Influence, that is the book. He talks about these things, and you should definitely look him up so you know who I'm talking about and why he's significant, in my opinion. All right. So, Atomic Habits, James Clear, right? Talked about him. Simon Sinek, The Infinite Game. Now it's Daniel Priestley. That's like the next dude that I've been studying. And what he said was, develop your positioning and reputation. So what does that mean? If you were to talk to somebody that knows you for creating or music or anything artistic or whatever you do, without even giving them a hint of what you're asking. Just ask them like in the most random moment and say, if you were to describe what I do in 2 sentences, what would it be? Now, if they think about it and then they say, oh, well, it's probably like you do a lot of music, or you do this, or you're doing a podcast or something like that, like that's good. That means you have some sort of reputation. But let's say they were like, podcast, you talk about this, X, Y, and Z, and you're a plant connoisseur, like you love smoking cigars, and you do all kinds of things. Like when I say all kinds of things, I'm talking about they're mentioning specific things about you. Now, if they can quickly identify those things, that means you have a strong reputation, okay? Or you've cultivated a strong reputation, which is good. If they run out of things to say, or they don't know, then you haven't developed a position or reputation, okay? So they kind of correlate and they tie into each other. If you don't have that reputation yet, you need to develop that reputation. And how do you develop that type of reputation? Well, for one, I mean, do I really need to get into that? Like, you're going to post your content, right, about what you love doing. You're going to talk to the camera. You're going to do what you love, right, based off your novelty and what I talked about before. It's all based off your novelty. So what is your novelty? Your novelty is your God-given abilities, right, like what you're naturally good at or you're inclined to do pretty good, right, what you've done in the past, right, and what you enjoy doing. Somewhere in between those 3 things, if you can identify that, that's going to be your novelty, like what you're good at. So you got to, going back into like positioning and reputation, you have to develop that reputation, and it's going to be based off your novelty, meaning those 3 things kind of mixed in together and comes out with something, right? That's going to be your novelty. And from there, that is where you start developing it. When you start creating your content, you start talking to people about it. People know you for your tools, maybe. I don't know, whatever it is. You have to identify that. Maybe like write them down so you can have more direction, okay? So now positioning. The way that I'm going to give you a specific example of my positioning and how I'm developing my position. Shameless plug, lifeisconquest.com, right? I write vlogs or blogs about artists that I handpick, that I am able to get a hold of, and ask them if they're willing to sit down for about an hour via Riverside FM, which is the app for podcasting that I personally use, not sponsored by them. And from there, I interview people that I handpick. I ask them if they're able to talk for about an hour, and I ask the questions based off the perspective that I'm trying to give. Now, what I mean by that is I'm trying to help out all the creators that watch my podcast, whether they're music creators, photographers, videographers, and I try to interview those type of individuals. And then I ask them questions to try to get some wisdom out of the guest. And I try to shorten those podcasts into like little clips and share the advice that they're giving out to the rest of the world because they took the time to come on my podcast. So once I do that, I write an article about the podcast that I did with the guest, and I try to help them get to where they're trying to go based off what I feel is valuable to help their growth. So when somebody looks up Alfred Banks, they're probably gonna come across my article that I wrote about him, or one of them when you Google search him, and you'll be able to see his podcast, and you'll be able to see like what we talked about, or hear what we talked about, and just go from there. If I do that enough time, I'm creating a reputation and I'm positioning myself because I have publications. Overall, like I'm trying to create a catalog of creators that takes time. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of learning because I use WordPress. But basically, I'm positioning my website, my brand, myself. It's all in the intent to help other creators, but also develop my brand at the same time, right? But that is secondary because I'm doing this for free. I don't really need, to charge people. I just want to help creators right now. I've always been that type of individual to just wanting to help people. And now the next thing is your intellectual property. Solve problems in your arena. So whatever your arena, creative, let's call it a arena, your creative arena, whatever your arena is, solve a problem. When you say I make music, say it in a way that's a little more specific. I make music for these type of people. I do videography for X, Y, and Z. I'm a photographer that helps people, blah, 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 blah. I make music for people that blah, 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 blah. Like you want to be a little more specific about what type of music, what you're doing it, like your intentions behind what you're doing, because it gives it a little more depth. That is your intellectual property that he talks about, shaped from a creator's perspective. As you're going through your journey of making your stuff, talk about your methods and why you chose those methods on making what you make. So what I do is I brainstorm first. I start with a feeling. I write that feeling down, and from there I start finding the sounds that complement that feeling that I wrote down. Like you want to create your method and discuss your method on how you do that. Now people will start knowing your method and start appreciating your creativity, because now you're giving them more depth. It all goes back to giving depth. Like we're in the era of what's behind the scenes, who is this individual? Before they even like your music or like your videography or whatever, like you have to be giving them some sort of value. Create the content that aligns with what you've done in the past or what you're doing now, what your interests are, what you're good at. You can do what I do. You can write a blog. For instance, I make music for people that like depth behind the music. That's weird, right? Because it entails so many other things, and if there wasn't internet, I'd still be making music, and I just enjoy doing it. I'm gonna get a Moog soon, grandmother or matriarch. That's my next bad investment. The last one is offer value. So I already kind of went into that when I was talking about creating content. I want to share people's music or content because I personally like it and I got a lot of value out of it, and I have my own interests, right? So if I share something, it's going to be very intentional. Don't be if you're a starving artist, like give more value, multiply your value exponentially, and then people will actually start fucking with you. And I've seen it. I've never asked for followers. I don't ask people to repost my shit. I don't do any of that stuff. And funny enough, I'm succeeding. I'm growing at a pace that I like, and I have no pressures. I'm super happy with where I'm at and where I'm going. That's really all I got in regards to key person of influence, tailored for creators. Sorry if it was a little choppy, but it's a vibe. I have my TR-8S drums for this, so I'm not gonna make drums on this right now. They're already made, but go check out my short on YouTube if you want to see it, or you're on YouTube right now, but go on my shorts feed and you'll see some of it. But I did change up a little. See? That's what that'll do. Okay. All right, so if you guys have any questions, just drop them in the comments and I'll get to them. I'm probably gonna go into Power versus Force next. That's a badass book. What's the difference between power and force? And then once I'm done reading that book, I will make another vlog about it and try to tailor it towards creators. I actually have it right there. I'm looking at it. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Y'all take care.